way we consume and share news today, it's largely rooted in social media outlets. A reason why we decided it's important to look at what's being discussed online, like temple food, fashionable in Paris, and PSA, sensitive apparently.
Yep.
All coming up on our social media minute. We're joined by Erica in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
PSAs are designed to be so, I don't know, friendly, don't you think?
Yeah.
It's funny that there's a sticking point in this particular PSA.
That's right.
We'll get to it in just a moment. But first, look how beautiful Erica looks this morning. Everyone needs to stream us on YouTube.
Thank you very much. Or merci beaucoup, should we say, with the first story that's coming up?
Such a beautiful segue.
Yeah. There was a festival in Paris called the Taste of Paris. It's an annual gourmet festival. That is held. And this year's festivities were held over the course of 4 days. And the latest edition showcased some of the finest Korean cuisine. But it's not what most people might think, because
Kimchi
visitors
or bibimbap. No.
Yeah, fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
Visitors actually got a chance to learn and taste a Korean temple cuisine.
That's special.
Korea, let's talk a little bit about history first.
Yeah,
Korea was a Buddhist nation during the Silla and Goryeo dynasties, which is a period spanning more than 1,000 years. And during this time, eating meat, especially beef, was strictly prohibited. So, it's kind of hard to believe in this day and age. We are a nation globally known for our love of grilling meat. But our ancestors used to follow a quasi-vegan lifestyle.
That's actually really funny when you put it side by side. Yeah. A nation famous for grilling meat. I mean, the Korean barbecue says it all. And it's not even just about that anymore. You just mentioned the fried chicken craze, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's not dead yet. But if you look at a course of 1,000-year history, I mean, it was a vegan lifestyle before we even knew it was a lifestyle choice.
That's right.
All right, so this is happening at the Taste of Paris, an annual festival that apparently celebrates all of the gourmet cuisines. How long has this festival been around for?
The Taste of Paris kicked off its very first edition back in 2015.
Okay.
It attracts tens of thousands of visitors every year. Famous restaurants with Michelin stars, dessert shops, beverage brands, they all participate in the event.
I mean, if you could pair the beverage with the food offer, wouldn't it be a perfect experience? What kind of experiences does the festival offer visitors then?
So this year, among the many programs, the festival featured demonstrations by the Venerable Won-young, who is a Buddhist monk and head of the cultural core of Korean Buddhism. She cooked alongside fellow monks Hong-seung and Yogo. They offered live cooking demonstrations of temple food, such as 콩국수 and bugak. Bugak is basically like a deep fried, it could be seaweed or vegetable.
I was going to say.
Anything that is sort of like dried.
What is tashima in English?
Well, a common term, it's kelp, isn't it?
Oh, it is kelp.
But, a lot of chefs around the world, they use the Japanese term kombu.
You're right. I was like, why am I blinking out on the word? But anyway, you can fry
anything.
Anything.
Yep.
And it could be bugagam. You could fry yeongun, like lotus fruit, for
chili
example.
peppers that have been dried.
And it's all really delicious and could be a great side dish.
Hwajeon is another dish they cooked up, which is basically small pancakes with basically a flower petal.
Usually
on top.
A seasonal flower. It's
Yep.
as far as taste goes, it's just decent, but aesthetics, it's amazing.
That's right. So monk Hong-seung and Alexander Didier, who is a chef at Le Cordon Bleu, jointly presented French interpretations of traditional Korean temple food as well. This is something that I really love. Food being prepared to cater to the taste buds of foreigners who are perhaps not used to eating spicy food or super pungent foods. For instance, the original recipe that monk Won-young uses for 표고버섯 강정, which is basically a deep-fried 표고 mushrooms smothered in a sweet and spicy glaze.
Right.
It contains gochujang, which is the chili paste, but she eliminated the chili paste and replaced it with sweet plum extract. And it was super popular among the visitors, apparently. It sold out very quickly.
I mean, that sounds tasty, right? I mean, even for someone who loves gochujang. But anyway, I do like that, they maybe adjusted the recipe just a little bit.
Yes.
So it reaches a a novice audience.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a nice way to, I think, maybe extend these cultural food and philosophies attached to the recipes. And maybe it can be extended to a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
If you tweak it just a little bit and make it relevant to the people of today.
Yep.
And this is just one of the many examples. For people who are unfamiliar with Buddhist cuisine, what are some typical characteristics of the food? You're not supposed to waste any of it.
Yeah. It's not just vegan food. The food served to monks at Korean Buddhist temples, they lack oshinche, or there are 5 forbidden vegetables. They include green onions, garlic, chives, Korean wild chives, and something called hungo, which is a type of leek. And these ingredients are forbidden because they're thought to distract the monks when they're meditating. So a garlicky kimchi breath is a big no-no.
Something that's too spicy or too pungent, it might take away from the meditative experience.
Yes.
So, I mean, trying to imagine Korean cuisine without green onion and garlic for me is kind of difficult, right?
Yeah. You know, this event created a huge buzz this year in Paris, but the buzz around temple cuisine, it actually started back in 2015. A writer named Jeff Gordonier, he wrote a feature article in the New York Times titled Chongguan, the Philosopher Chef. That article propelled her to international stardom, basically. And Korean temple cuisine became known to the world. And that article eventually became the inspiration for the episode on Chef's Table on Netflix.
There you go. I mean, it's certainly not the first time I'm talking about it on the show either, but honestly, it's about how far it can go. I mean, I think creating these festivals around it is an entirely different story too.
The message these monks had for the visitors, I loved, because they're saying this food is not just related to a religious belief, a specific religious beliefs. They said this is a way to eat sustainably in this day and age. This is a healthy sort of lifestyle that everyone can follow.
Because you're supposed to be not just respectful of your body, but also the ground that you live on and the planet Earth. And I think that's kind of a universal theme, and maybe it has less to do with religion. I can get on board with that. All right, now I'm hungry. Anyone else?
Always.
All right, let's get to that controversial PSA. See, as I'm saying, I'm like, is it controversial? But anyway, when you have a massive following like Oonyang. It's a lot.
Yes. So Oonyang, she's a child psychiatrist, and she's a household name here in Korea. She's on so many TV shows, and she has her own very successful YouTube channel, and she has legions of fans and followers who adore her for her wisdom, her experience, her expertise, her insights regarding parenting.
You're right. And I mean, the fact that, there was a time when people were talking about, the kind of shopping that she does, or even how costly it is to actually meet her in person for therapy. And people are on board and said, if it is Oonyang, then she gets a free pass.
This is a funny story that I heard. She was on the show and she was talking about how busy she is, meeting parents and children.
Yes.
And she was once traveling to, somewhere outside Seoul, and she had to stop by one of the rest stop areas, for toilet break. And she was in the stall doing what she had to do, and she hears a knock on her door.
And it's not someone who wants to use the restroom.
A complete stranger saying, "Oh, are you Dr. Oonyang? I need help.
If you don't mind, can we have a little conversation?" Could you imagine how uncomfortable that is?
That's the kind of lifestyle she has.
And how popular she really is.
Exactly.
All right, so a little bit about this commercial. It was a TV commercial intended to maybe teach everyone about etiquette. What is etiquette when in the face of, running into children that might not be in line with what the adults want them to do, I suppose.
Exactly. But she's now at the center of, I guess it's controversial, a series of PSAs that were encouraged to, encourage people to have more children.
That was really the aim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the premise of all these commercials, it was themed etiquette. So not etiquette, it's
gotcha.
for child, and ticket from etiquette.
Nicely done. So it's etiquette for children.
Yeah,
or with children.
So these PSAs basically said children have rights that must be protected by adults at all costs.
At all costs.
Yeah, at all
I
costs.
think that's where it becomes a little bit
Yep.
more thorny.
That's right. So let me give you an example. In one of these PSAs, a young couple is seen walking in the park. They're holding a cup of coffee. They're enjoying their time. And along comes a kid. He's racing towards them and ends up bumping into them. They spill their coffee. It's everywhere. Their shoes get wet. And, Oh Young, she walks into the frame saying, it's okay. 괜찮아. Children are small, so they do not have the same spatial, cognition as fully grown adults. They're still growing. Let's be patient.
Okay.
That is her message.
Okay, so her message doesn't seem ill-intended. I
Right.
feel like I can get on board with the
Sure.
intention, but I guess people are raising questions about should the kid maybe learn to apologize too?
That's exactly what people are saying. They said that the commercial itself had good intentions, but the first step is for the child, or at least the parent or parents of the child, to apologize to the couple.
Maybe that could have been a more thorough PSA.
Yeah.
I think most people are not, taking this PSA apart. They're raising questions about whether etiquette should include certain norms or social norms for these kids.
The people critical of this PSA are basically saying maybe that they should have added a part where they, suggesting the proper etiquette that parents must follow in this sort of situation instead of, asking viewers to, just accept them. They're kids.
What I'm actually still puzzled by was that this PSA was designed to encourage more people to have more children. I'm not seeing the obvious connection
that's another
there.
criticism this PSA is facing as well.
All right. I guess the point is you could have done better.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, our last story of the day. Now, I think this is hilarious.
Yeah. So there's a guy. He works as a producer for CNN based here in Seoul. And he created a website. As a hobby, he wanted to teach himself how to code, basically. And he was also confused by when the nearest supermarket near where he lives is open. It's closed the second and fourth Sunday of every month, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he found it really difficult to remember. And he has trekked, several minutes, 20 minutes to walk to his nearest Home Plus and to find that it's closed that weekend. So he created a website. Basically, people ask the question, is Home Plus open today? And the website gives you the answer, yes or no.
That's all it does, right?
That's all it does.
It's just white and black. Yes. No.
Exactly. And the site actually took off. It's been, 6 years since he built this website?
No
and
way.
He has thousands of visitors. Last month alone, he received 4,700 visits. So he decided to make something good out of it.
Okay.
He started adding charitable organizations at the very bottom of the page so people can donate money for a good cause.
Okay, so because he's providing this full, free, easy to utilize service, if people come by, they're probably inclined to give a little, I think. And so this is a brilliant idea.
Exactly.
And it's such a simple one, too.
Even his best friends didn't know that he was the creator of this website.
I don't think he was trying to take credit for it.
No, not at all.
Again, it was to learn coding.
And it was supposed to be a little bit funny.
It is funny.
It's just a question. Right.
Is Home Plus open?
Yeah.
Yes. No. Thank you very much, Erica, for such a fun coverage. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
If you're listening to our program using the podcast service, just a reminder that we do go live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Korea Standard Time. So tune in and help us make the show more informative by giving us your input. See you bright and early on Good Morning Seoul.